We all dream of being rich, right? Winning the lottery, buying a dream house, never worrying about a bill again. But there is rich, and then there is wealthy. I'm talking about the kind of money that isn't just for one lifetime. It's for 10 lifetimes. Money that buys not just fancy cars, but entire countries. Money that changes the course of history. Today, we aren't looking at modern tech billionaires. We are going back in time. We're looking at the dynasties, the families who treated the world like a giant monopoly board. Who were the richest families in history? Let's start our journey about 600 years ago in Florence, Italy. We are meeting the Medici family. Before the Medici, if you wanted to borrow money, it was complicated. The church didn't really like the idea of charging interest on loans. The Medici family changed the game. They are often called the fathers of modern banking. They figured out clever ways to lend money to powerful people, merchants, nobles, and kings, and get paid back with a profit without technically breaking religious rules. They became unbelievably rich. But the Medici didn't just sit on their gold. They realized that money equals power and money equals influence. They used their cash to basically run the city of Florence behind the scenes. But here is why we remember them today. They were the ultimate patrons of the arts. Have you heard of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Donatello? The Medici family funded them. Without Medici money, the Italian Renaissance, that explosion of incredible art and culture, might never have happened the same way. They bought beauty, but they also bought power. They became so influential that this one banking family produced 4 different popes and 2 queens of France. That is serious networking. Let's jump forward a few hundred years to the late 1700s and early 1800s. We need to talk about the name that became a synonym for wealth, the Rothschilds. It started with one man in Germany, Mayer Amschel Rothschild. He was smart with money, but his real genius was understanding networking before the internet existed. He had 5 sons. When they grew up, he didn't keep them all at home. He sent them to the 5 major financial capitals of Europe at the time: Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples. This was brilliant. They created the world's first international banking system. If gold was cheaper in London than in Paris, they knew about it first and could make a profit moving it. They developed a communication network of fast couriers and even carrier pigeons that was faster than anything governments had. They knew the results of battles before kings did. During the Napoleonic Wars, big wars that happened across Europe, the Rothschilds were essential. They were the only ones with enough cash and the right connections to lend money to entire governments to pay their armies. They were basically the credit card company for empires. For much of the 19th century, the Rothschild family possessed the largest private fortune in the world and in modern history. Now let's cross the ocean to America in the late 1800s. The Industrial Revolution is in full swing. Trains need fuel, machines need lubrication. Enter John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller didn't come from money, but he saw the future, and the future was oil. He started a company called Standard Oil, and Rockefeller didn't just want to be a player in the oil game, he wanted to be the only player. He was ruthless. He bought out competitors, undercut prices to drive others out of business, and made secret deals with railroads to ship his oil cheaper than anyone else. Eventually, Standard Oil controlled about 90% of all the oil refining in the United States. Think about that. Almost every drop of oil used in the entire country went through his hands. This monopoly made John D. Rockefeller the richest person in recorded history at that time. He was the world's first official billionaire. If you adjust his peak wealth for inflation today, some economists estimate he would be worth over $300 or $400 billion. That's way more than Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos today. The government eventually broke up his company because it was too powerful. But Rockefeller spent the last half of his life giving his money away, funding modern medicine and education. So, where did all that money go? Well, with families like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, the money got split up over generations. If you have billions and you have 5 kids, and they have 5 kids, eventually the pie gets divided into smaller slices. They are still incredibly wealthy families, but rarely is one individual the richest person on earth anymore. Today, we still have super rich families. Think about the Walton family, who founded Walmart. If you add up their family wealth, it's over $250 billion. And then there's royal wealth, the House of Saud, the ruling royal family of Saudi Arabia. Their wealth is tied to the vast oil reserves of their country. It's hard to get an exact number, but estimates of their combined family wealth range into the trillions of dollars. Throughout history, the source of wealth changes. First it was banking and land. Then it was oil and railroads. Today it's technology and retail. But one thing stays the same. These families didn't just have money. They had the power to shape the world we live in today, from the art on museum walls to the fuel in our cars. What do you think? If you had Rockefeller money, would you try to take over an industry? Or would you just buy a private island and chill? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this look into historical bank accounts, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. And subscribe so you don't miss our next video on history's most fascinating stories. Thanks for watching.